There's a new NFL article out that lists Green Bay's offense amongst 6 NFL units that need a quote-unquote wake-up call. Now, I asked you guys this morning. What do you mean by wake-up call? Because you would think losing to the Browns, you would think losing to these other teams that they should have beaten this season would have already been the wake-up call. Now, it sounds like they mean a kick in the backside. Need a kick in the backside. So the Packers are one of 6 units, so it could be offensive and defenses, and it is the Packers' offense. Is that fair? Because as we just talked about, gang, this is an offense that is reeling with injuries all over the place. And it begins and ends, in my opinion, with the Tucker Kraft thing. But you could certainly talk about the injuries to the offensive line. You could certainly talk about Josh Jacobs being injured at times. Certainly Jaden Reed. The list goes on and on and on. Early in the season, waiting for Christian Watson to come back. And now you've got Jordan Love dealing with that separated shoulder, albeit not on his throwing arm. But still, this is a banged-up unit, Gabe. Is it fair to say, after their win over the Vikings, that this is still a unit in need of a wake-up call / kick in the ass?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a championship defense on the other side that's been playing their asses off for the majority of the season. Right now, they're 13th in points, 13th in yards.
Yeah, they're dropping.
Yeah, you're going the other way. You're not in that good spot when we thought this could be a top 10 off. And look, the Lions are without one of their big weapons in Sam Laporta. They've put up 500-plus yard games in 2 of the last 3 weeks. But you got to come up with solutions. Yeah, you're beat up. So is everybody else. Everybody else is dealing with injuries across the league. Eagles are the number 1 seed. They don't have Lane Johnson. He's one of their best offensive linemen. They're still, again, I know they just lost to the Cowboys, but they're still one of the top teams in the NFC. People deal with injuries. That's the way it goes in the NFL. You still have to come up with solutions. You got to come up with, hey, all right, this guy's down. Someone's got to step up. We got to figure this out. You guys in your championship year, I mean, how many wide receivers got hurt?
Yeah.
Where Terry Mickens is, being the number 1 option for a couple of weeks because guys are so beat up. Still found ways to win games. You guys still went 13-3. Still had a top offense. Brett was still the MVP.
We just thought I thought there'd be a pivot after the Pittsburgh game where he threw for 360. But the last 3 games have been 176, 174, 139, And they're going to have to pivot if they want to make a deep playoff run. It's nice to see that they're running the ball a little bit better, but still, I mean, you look at Detroit, and I agree with Jason. This is going to take more than 21 points because Detroit, they put up points. They put up high 20s. They put up, they put up 40. They put up 30-something. Rushing the ball, I don't think they're going to get there. So, and I think they know that, I think LaFleur knows that, and it's going to take time. You get Reed back, and hopefully that, takes away the sting of Kraft. But, it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things, too. He's just got to find that combination of what really works, what's our best package, how do we attack this, and go from there.
So I already told you I take issue with this whole wake-up call thing because to me a wake-up call is like where you get your butt beat and then you're like, whoa, we can't be complacent. We can't go in 50%, 75% or whatever it is, even if we're playing a lesser opponent. So this is more of a, like I said earlier, kind of you need to get right.
Are you sure that we can't take it more literally? Another bad loss, another one where the offense looks like it is probably what's going to change Matt LaFleur's approach.
Can I be honest with you? That's what I thought when I read it. I was like, are they trying to say that they need to lose a game like the Lions game in order to get shaken awake to be like, hey, what you're doing isn't working. You have to change directions. But I guess I'm still trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, Joshy, because of the injuries that they've been dealing with. I don't think this is the thing that you fix with one game. I think it has to be a process. And I do think that the win over the Vikings, no matter how bad and stinky you think the Vikings are, puts you in a better position to, okay, we had some things that went well in that game. We said Monday on Victory Monday, Gabe, that it was the most complimentary game we have seen from them offensively, defensively, and special teams. So I feel like that's a step in the right direction. Can you build on that against the Lions this Thursday?
You're hoping that you can run the ball as well as you did on first and second down. Because that helps get teams out of the too high shell. They got to drop the extra guy down, which is what teams were doing early because they wanted to make sure Josh Jacobs didn't beat them. And Jordan Love had huge games in the first half against the Lions the first time around. Like, Jordan threw for like 50 yards in the second half of that game. Most of the stats that we went through earlier were in the first half because the Lions were going with a heavy box. Hey, Josh Jacobs isn't going to beat us. We dare you to beat us, Jordan. And he did in that first half. Teams haven't been doing that because the offensive line hasn't been good enough. Healthy or not, the offensive line hasn't been good enough for the Packers for teams to go, yeah, we don't care if we're a light box. We're still going to be able to stop the run. So you got to figure out ways to get around that. Okay, they have a light box. You can't always run against that light box. Still have to throw the football. Still have to try to do things to get them out and dictate to the defense what they're going to be doing and try to change to what you're doing. And hopefully, with the offensive line, if it does settle in, Jason doesn't seem to think that they're going to end the rotation at right guard, which I think is a mistake. But hopefully you can settle in and start finding, like Chewy said, these things that work and the things then that you can do off of those things.
You got time. You got
a week?
2 or 3 weeks before we got to see, like, this is. Because right now, if you ask me, I'm like, they win the division, they can win one at home, and then I don't know after that. Right now. And it's all offensively. It's not defensively. But right now, I was going to ask, are there just 2 good teams in the NFC right now that we know of?
I would say one. There's
you don't
one
think
good
Seattle?
The Rams. And it's funny because yesterday we had Rob Demovsky on the show, and he had a great line. I'm not going to remember it verbatim, but it was essentially this idea about the NFC. The Packers can hang with the top teams in the NFC, but they could also lose to anybody in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't think you're scared of anybody. You're not scared of anybody except for probably the Rams. And the reason why I say no on the Seahawks, Chew, is because seemingly every big game, Sam Darnold craps down his pants.
Yeah.
So that's why I eliminate Seattle.
There's just a bunch of all the Eagles are the same. Packers, Detroit, throw Tampa Bay in there.
Yeah.
But they've had a tough
Gabe's
schedule.
out on Tampa Bay.
They've had a gauntlet, but now their schedule gets really easy.
Because they get to play the NFC South.
Would you throw San Fran in there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, San Fran's the same.
I mean, I look 8-4. I'm like, why do they feel like they're 4-8?
Shoot, right now, the Lions are on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
The Lions are not a playoff team as we sit here heading into Thanksgiving.
Where are you putting the Bears?
I don't think they're very good.
At the kiddie table.
It's so interesting because there are times where we will use the phrase, you are what your record indicates. Is the Bears the exception to that rule?
I mean, to me, feels like a split.
I was wondering that earlier when we were talking about
If you watch the
division.
Bears play, the Packers will take care of business.
But the problem is, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because it is Lions week. It is not Bears week yet. But the problem is the inconsistency that you have seen from the Packers, Gabe. To Rob Demovsky's point yesterday, it feels like they can lose to anybody. Any given Sunday, they can lose if they don't put it together. Here's what I will say. When I talked earlier about the blueprint for what the Packers can follow from week 1, score early, score often early. In that game, I think they had 3 drives that they scored on. And they put the game essentially out of reach for the Lions, right? Because then you knew that they were in passing situations, and that helps your defense and all of the other football 101 stuff that we talk about so often. So for me, that should be part of the blueprint. That should be part of the plan when they face the Lions this week. Go down like they did against the Vikings and score on your first drive. It just takes a world of pressure off of everybody if you can get that out of the way.
I think more important to that is stopping the Lions from running the football because that shortens the game. Oh, man, why can't the Packers score more points in the first half? Because they only have the ball 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, teams are shortening possessions because they're able to run the football at a high rate of success. And then they hold on to the ball. The Packers flipped that script against the Vikings this last week. But you look at what the Carolina Panthers were able to do. The Giants, for the most part in that game, were able to control the possessions and shorten the game and muddy it up and make it a closer game than you think it should have been because they're able to control the time of possession by running the football.
Well, then, of course, the next layer of that strategy then is that you have to rely on your passing game to move down the field quickly if you're only going to have those limited opportunities. And that's when Matt LaFleur needs to trust Jordan Love and trust that he can move the chains with his arm.
We always talk about this as if it's like a one-sided thing. You could stop the Panthers from being able to run so much if you scored some damn points. Look what just happened last night. They threw 3 interceptions, but the Niners were still putting up points. And they got them out of that, we're going to run it down your throat and keep running it, because they scored points to match. They were able to get the ball. Like, You have to score on offense the Vikings game on Sunday, without one of the most boneheaded special teams plays you'll ever see. That game is going the exact same script as all the games the Packers have lost. And the difference there was you forced them to give you easy points. Without that play, that game's a dogfight. It's back and forth. The Vikings are going to continue running the ball. They're going to continue running it down their throat.
Well, that's why Thursday the script's going to be the exact same for both teams. Establish the run, play action pass, gash them when we can. They're both going to start the game. LaFleur is too, because LaFleur still has the restrictor plates on Love. He's not going to let him off on a Thursday night short week in a place like Detroit. I just think they're going to,
It's what he did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let him off the leash.
He should.
But
do you in your heart of heart believe that's going to be the game plan? Because I don't. No.
What, you think they're going to air it out?
They're going to try and play possession. They're going to try
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep it away, because as good as the Packers defense has been, that Lions offense is.
Yeah. And
you don't want to get a shootout with that team.
Doesn't it feel like if we get into who can run the ball better and possess the ball better, it's going to be the Lions?
Yeah, but also if you get into who's got better weapons on the outside and can air it out,
it's also the Lions.
Also favors the Lions. Kamal Haddon's going to be defending Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't feel great.
What is the line? I didn't even look.
Lions by 3.
2.5 down on.
Oh, it's down to 2.5
now? Fair.
Home field.
Yeah,
I feel like they're pretty evenly matched.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Thanks for watching our clip. I'm sure it was super informative and educational. I'm just kidding. I love those knuckleheads. And we do it live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get informed anytime we drop new content.